Okay, it's been a little bit since we last played Skyrim. Just kind of an update of what's going on. I'm only playing for an hour today. We are at the end game. I think I have played Skyrim incorrectly, or at least not like anyone else plays Skyrim, because I've been streaming it. I've pretty much barreled down the main quest line, and I'm currently at the very end of the main quest. So I've done almost everything except every side quest in the game, which is the opposite of how everyone else plays the game. So once I got to that end game area, I was definitely not strong enough to handle stuff there. I didn't have a proper equipment or a proper level to beat things without, you know, eating a million wheels of cheese. So we're backing out and doing side quests for quite some time until we can get back into the end game area. I'm currently in the middle of the College of Winterhold quest line because I've heard that one's pretty cool. If anyone else knows of other quest lines that we happen to finish Winterhold that are worth checking out, I'm open to suggestions, but we'll just kind of move through the quest objectives for now.
Good. It's always encouraging to see the younger generations embracing education.
This game continues to be super quiet, so I'm going to turn it up, but let me know if that becomes a problem.
Did he now? Does he have information about our wonderful discovery?
Backing out and getting a million wheels of cheese.
Is that the one about something buried beneath Sarthal? Something that men and Mare fought over? I'll have to make a point of rereading it. I don't recall the details. I just can't seem to tear myself away. Whatever this is, its beauty is like nothing I've ever seen before. If you'd allow me to indulge myself for a moment, I thought I might make a few observations. I'm sure you've already noticed the markings. They're quite unlike anything we've seen before. Aliad, Dwemer, Daedric, not even Falmer. None of them are a match. Quite curious indeed.
Just gonna double check here if there's an in-game audio setting that I can change. I feel like this is quieter than it's ever been. I don't know. That's weird. One more thing I can try. We're just playing Trails and I haven't changed the volume anywhere. Weird. Alright, well, I'll just play it at max volume, and if it gets super loud later, let me know, please.
Well, I'm not sure that you're quite as attuned as I am, given my extensive years of experience. Quite curious indeed. Feel that? This marvelous object, it practically radiates magicka, and yet it's unlike anything I've felt before. Archmage Aaron is already hard at work, and hopefully we'll have more information soon.
I'm afraid I must intrude. It is urgent that I speak with your associate immediately.
This is most inappropriate. We're involved in serious research here.
Oh.
Yes, I've no doubt of its gravity. This, however, is a matter that cannot wait.
Well, I'm quite sure I've never been interrupted like this before. The audacity. I suppose we'll continue this at some later time, when we can avoid interruptions.
I need you to come with me immediately. Let's go. Really? Well, allow me to clarify the situation. I'd like to know why there's someone claiming to be from the Psijic Order here in the college. More importantly, I'd like to know why he's asking for you specifically. So we're going to go have a little chat with him and find out exactly what it is he wants. I'll be the one asking the questions. All you need to know is that the Psijic Order is a rogue organization, believing themselves to be above the law. They have clashed with the Old Mary Dominion before, and I have no intention of allowing that to happen here.
I love the tendency of characters to turn their head towards you when you're following them. Reminds me of
I think the college
Shenmue.
is due for a change in leadership.
Yeah?
Now, you are going to speak to this monk and find out why he is here, and then he will be removed from college grounds.
Okay. Can you open that door any more slowly?
What you learn here will last you a lifetime.
I mean you no harm.
Several, if you're talented.
Oh, creepy. What's with the
It is
effect in
good
here?
to meet you in person. I'd simply like to talk to you. I've given us a chance to speak privately, but I'm afraid I can't do this for long. We must be brief. The situation here at your college is of dire importance, and attempts to contact you, as we have previously, have failed. I believe it is due to the very source of our concern. This object, the Eye of Magnus, as your people have taken to calling it. The energy coming from it has prevented us from reaching you with the visions you have already seen. The longer it remains here, the more dangerous the situation becomes. And so I have come here personally to tell you it must be dealt with.
Why don't you just do something about it? Why don't they just...
I'm afraid it's not that simple. You must understand the Psijic Order does not typically intervene directly in events. My presence here will be seen as an affront to some within the Order. As soon as we have finished, I will be leaving your college. I'm all too aware that my arrival has aroused suspicion, especially in Onkano, your Thormore associate. Nevertheless, my Order will not act directly. You must take it upon yourself to do so.
Are there any particularly charismatic elves in the Elder Scrolls universe that we really like and want to be friends with?
As you may have learned, this object, the Eye, is immensely powerful. The world is not ready for it. If it remains here, it will be misused. Indeed, many in the Order believe it has already. Rather, something will happen soon, something that cannot be avoided.
Your character had speech 100. NPCs not really.
We believe that your efforts should be directed towards dealing with the aftermath, but we cannot predict what that will be. I fear I have already overstepped the bounds of my Order, but I will offer this. Seek out the Augur of Dunlain here in your college. His perception may be more coherent than ours.
Nice, Johan. Who is the Augur of Dunlain?
He was once a student here at the college. Now he is... something different. I am unsure. He is somewhere within the college. Surely one of your colleagues must know his location.
Oh
I'm
man,
sorry I
mysteries
cannot provide
afoot.
you with further help, but this conversation requires a great deal of effort on my part. Now, I'm afraid I must leave you. We will continue to watch over you and guide you as best we can. It is within you to succeed. Never forget that.
Was that a typo, Game Sauce, or did you mean
Where-
I
were you
once
about to
made
say
every
something?
high elf character?
I'm sorry, I'm afraid I don't understand.
Don't play coy. You asked to see a specific member of the college. Here she is. Now what is it that you want?
There's been a misunderstanding. Clearly I should not be here. I shall simply take my leave.
What? What
That's
trickery
cool.
is this? You're not going anywhere until I find out what you're up to.
I am not up to anything. I apologize if I have offended you in any way.
We will see about this.
That was kind of awesome. Cool sequence. But I think I immediately got a quest journal update for that. Find the Augur of Dunlain. Is that going to be the blue marker?
You must excuse me. I shouldn't...
Okay.
I think the college is due for a change in leadership.
You said that earlier. Did you know that? But you're just repeating yourself. Oh, right. I have to ask colleagues around to find the Augur. So there's no quest objective because it's based on talking to everyone, I assume, right? Oh, he's still out here. There's that Dragonite. This game is so fucking buggy. Everyone's like, yep, this is just out here. No problem.
You must excuse me. I shouldn't be here.
Alright.
I have many important things on my mind. The what? No, I'm quite sure I have no idea what you're talking about. I suggest you mind your own business and return to whatever it is you do.
Degenerates on Big K. I love when this happened too. I'm just standing in the courtyard and we start hearing like thumping epic music. I'm like, what? What's going on? Is this a bug? Why is there all this music all of a sudden? I guess normally I would know there would be a dragon because there'd be a bunch of like townsfolk around that would be like, dragon! But because it was in the college, there was nobody outside.
Are you quite sure we need to be speaking?
You're the one who talked first, jackass. God, some people's elves. Tell you what.
It's lies. All of it. I don't care what she told you. It's all lies.
I feel like the characters are generally very improved in Skyrim over Oblivion, where like the world was beautiful but the characters looked like garbage. This character doesn't look so great though.
Feralda, don't act like she didn't say anything. I know her, and I know what she's been up to.
Right. Have you heard of the Augur of Dunlain?
It's not enough that you've stolen the spotlight with this eye thing. Now you're looking for the Augur. I'm not sure what you're playing at, but you do well to remember your place around here.
Okay.
Until next time.
Yeah. Where's the awesome teacher guy that helped me find the sword that was talking to me earlier? Why you gotta be so rude?
I think the college is due for a change in leadership.
Shut up. Gosh. I got to the end game at level 16. I assume that that's kind of early. Hey, book guy. So like that.
I don't want to see you treating any of these books poorly. Are we clear? Hundreds of years have gone into assembling this collection.
Aw, I was hoping he would give me advice since I already have got a relationship with him. I gave him a fucking Elder Scroll.
There are few places where one can pursue my type of work without fear of persecution. If you require assistance with summoning techniques, please let me know. If you would, please also contain your summons to the college grounds. The locals do not need to be agitated further by Atronachs roaming their town. The
Atronachs are summon elementals?
Less advisable outside the college. I'll teach you some of what I know, but be careful.
Times train this level. It's correct to wait to do this, right? You don't want to train too early. Get more value for training at its higher level.
I sure know. Those archaic policies died out with the Mages Guild, and were never enforced here. Necromancy, as any other type of magic, is a tool to be used. Of course, non-mages may not see it that way, so we don't go around flaunting it.
That's fair.
That incident in Morthal was just a misunderstanding, no matter what the guards claim.
You talk to me. Otherwise, you're going to find yourself in a lot of pain.
Hey, chill out, Urag. I gave you an Elder Scroll. That shit's really... That's the name of the game, dog. Like, I didn't give you, like, a youth scroll. Then I can understand you giving me some lip, man. Be a legendary savior, and they'll still give you fetch quests with their time is more precious than yours. Yeah, I wonder if that's just a result of the lack of polish. I mean, we were just giving Trails of Cold Steel shit for putting too much effort into having too much dialogue that changes whenever a cutscene happens, but now we're on the other side where it's like, you are the Archmage, and everyone's like, hey, don't talk to me about magic. Have you heard of the College of Winterhold? Have you heard of the High Elves? I myself am a High Elf, it turns out. Training something. Yeah, but the mages that give you training for a specific skill, it's best to try to wait until that skill is high level to get the most bang for your buck on it, I think. Is that true? Someone tell me about the Augur. Probably have to go to the building where all the teachers are. For some falling damage. Oh, wow. Well, the Dragonborn died. He jumped off a small ledge. Just gotta do parkour, tuck and roll. Only alive 5 purchase trains per level. Oh, I didn't realize it worked that way. I misunderstood that, Game Saucer. So, while you're level 5, you can buy up to 5 trainings, and then that resets down to 0. I thought it was per skill that you would get a total of 5 skill ups for conjuration ever. And Lydia's like, finally.
I think the college is due for a change in leadership.
Do you? Oh, hey.
Tempting services. The local Nords may not like us very much, but they don't seem to mind having access to enchanted weapons and armor.
That guy is the voice of Winnie the Pooh. Jim Cummings, I want to say? He's in everything. I get the feeling that Skyrim has like 10 voice actors. Probably not that extreme.
Be careful.
Shut up. Okay, and it resets, so if I train 5 times in Conjuration at level 16, I can come back to that same trainer at level 17 and train 5 more times if I have the gold for it. Gotcha, thank you. I did not know that.
You know, they say knowledge is its own reward.
But is it though?
Illusion really is the least appreciated of the schools of magic. Farewell.
Later, dog. Looks like the other teachers don't really have dialogue about finding the Augur.
Master Wizard, I suppose. Still, there's always room for improvement. I can't wait to see who succeeds Mirabelle. I've no doubt she'll be promoted to Archmage at some point. I can teach you, but I won't be held responsible for what you do with the knowledge. Spells and incantations for those.
See if I can dump a bunch of my extra crap here. Must have already gone on a dumping spree earlier. Most books aren't worth something unless if they're worth something, right? Unless if they're like a skill book or something. I think I might already have a good destruction thing. Let's see.
The Augur? Really? Well, it's certainly not my place to say anything about it. I think you'd better go see Mirabelle Irvine.
Oh, really? You can pickpocket back the money you spend on training if you don't give them too much gold for your pickpocket ability. Wow, that's crazy.
All right, then.
I hate the inventory system in this game. Oh, I think I may have accidentally sold... No, there it is, Necromancer. Okay, because we needed the 50% regeneration. So she won't buy every kind of item in the game, I guess. Steal 1 gold 500 times. That's funny. Have you heard of the Augur? Enemy models for Kyle to play with. That's awesome, Yahan. Way to go. You can steal the clothes off their bodies.
Restoration is a perfectly valid school of magic, and don't let anyone tell you otherwise.
She just says that while she's sleeping.
The Augur? Tragic story, really. At least the way I heard it. But that was a long time ago. It was some experiment gone horribly wrong. Ghastly results, I was told. And his ghost still roams the halls, they say. Of course, on further reflection, that may have simply been an attempt to scare me. Perhaps I'll ask Tolfdir what really happened. I understand he was here at the time.
That's super funny to me that, like, these games, they try to increase immersion by, like, having characters go to sleep on a schedule, but it's so bizarre for you to just wake them up and then freely jump back into whatever they were normally talking about when they're awake, right?
Research material. I'll gladly share my knowledge with you.
The cost is lower because I've trained it. No, it's actually not that different. I see. That's awesome, Johan. Doing a couple more skills than anything. Trainer calendar setback the 0 artifact. Interesting. It seems like that's like one of the most important uses of money in the game. I wish that it would build up available trains though, because it seems like it's correct to try to get as many trainings in as you can at level 1, then again at level 2, and so on. Alright, it says I need to talk to Tolfdir. Oh, maybe I just got a quest marker for it. Hold on.
I think the college is due for a change in leadership.
Do you? You're doing something cheesy, your followers are trainer. Oh, I didn't know followers could be traders. That's interesting.
It's always encouraging to see the younger generations embracing education.
You were the dude I've been looking for this whole time.
College will be here for you no matter what. Well now, there's a name I haven't heard in some time. My goodness, it's been years since I've spoken with him. I suppose he's still down in the Midden, but I haven't checked. Are you going to see him? Do tell him hello for me, won't you? Underneath the college. It's not the nicest place, so if you go down there...
Sewer filled with magic rats.
Well, I suppose he wouldn't mind. It was all before my time, you understand. I've heard the stories, the same as anyone else. He was a brilliant student, an accomplished wizard. Delved into magic in a way...
Not a sewer filled with magic rats, but a magic sewer.
I think
oh, full of magic rats, okay.
On just how much power he could acquire. That's what led...
Different potentials for dungeon design, right? You can have the magic sewer filled with the regular rats.
Until next time.
You could probably start applying other traditional, like, RPG things. The magic icy sewer filled with thunder rats. Excuse me, do you know the language of Augur? Yeah, I was thinking that earlier. What can you tell me about the Four Voodoo? it's a magic sewer magically full of magic rats. See, that's different. That means the rats were conjured into being in there, right? They may have been down here already, I guess we'll find out. It was actually a sewer. Let me see if there are any rats down here. That's creepy. Mr. Groundskeeper. Make a rat RPG where the first quest is to go upstairs and get rid of the human infestation. That'd be pretty dope. I would play that game. Be rats who are also mages. Yep. Main character is actually a trash mob. Yeah, well, I mean, it's not all that new. Is that the plot of Final Fantasy VII? Spoilers. Statute of limitations, I guess. The main character is actually one of the first mobs you fight in the game.
Your perseverance will only lead to disappointments.
Oh yeah?
Still, you persist. Very well. You may enter.
Your perseverance will only lead to disappointment. I wait for 3 seconds. Actually, I didn't even wait. I already turned around and gave up immediately. Alright, you may enter.
I am that which you have been seeking.
Me IRL Ludwix. Presumably I could have gone there earlier before having the quest to enter.
It has already begun. Those who have sent you have not told you what they seek, what you seek. Indeed. And so you have come looking, though you do not know why. Like others before you, you blindly follow a path to your own destruction. The Thalmor came seeking answers as well, unaware they will be his undoing. Your path now follows his, though you will arrive too late. The one who calls himself Ancano. He seeks information about the Eye, but what he will find shall be quite different.
The guy that seemed to obviously be a bad guy.
His path will cross yours in time. But first, you must find that which you need.
Oh my god! Although actually it was sort of obvious.
You and those aiding you.
I know, right, Spiky? I'm so jealous.
Of Magnus. You wish to avoid the disaster of which you are not yet aware. To see through Magnus's eye without being blinded, you require his
Talk to the Augur to get the Magnus eye, but then you need the staff.
Events now spiral quickly.
You gotta trade the frog eye medicine to the blind Goron.
So you must act with haste. Take this knowledge to your Archmage.
You gotta climb Mount Doom in 4 minutes. You can't use the Eagles. Okay. Can I function without the quest marker? Not a skill book. This seems like a good idea. I guess I can't do anything with it yet. Pretty cool looking though. It looks like that guy had a good time messing around with this Hand of Sauron. Yeah. I think there's kind of sort of a double-edged sword argument to be made about quest markers. That they can sort of, you know, shrink the world for a player by giving you this tunnel vision where you're just trying to follow the way of the marker and not paying attention to what else is on the screen. I played several games that I've mostly played via the UI, via the mini-map, or something similar, and not actually paid very close attention to what's happening in the game world itself. I think this game would be irritating without a quest marker. I don't know. The whole breadcrumbs thing seems pretty important. Having a map where things are displayed. But I guess you could argue that there's something special about a game that makes you figure that shit out, you know? Take directions like turn left at the crossroads. Don't give you all the information you need to get by you're expected to use it. That's true, right. It's not like here's a nice bonus. The game's impossible to traverse without it. They haven't taken the steps to include those sorts of instructions, I guess. Salvos Arn is probably in Winterhold, right? Morrowind is designed without them. It's frustrating because you're used to it. Yeah. Very interesting. I think it's a problem that we only really see in video games where, you know, like, there are very few storytelling trade-offs, I guess, in film and literature where if you do this thing at this point in the story, you know, the story is improved in this way, but it fails in this way. Usually there's a right and a wrong way to do it. But I feel like with a lot of game mechanics, there are mechanics that improve the experience in one way but detract from it in another.
I think
maybe that's not true. Maybe there's a film element that, you know, oh, if you shoot it this way, then some parts of the audience will be confused, but other ones will enjoy it more than if you shot it this way.
I'm not sure what happened. A monk from the Sijic Order. Here after all
Morrowind's
these
messy
years,
and broken,
then
but still awesome.
he just leaves. I hope we didn't offend him somehow. What you learn here will last you a lifetime. Several, if you're talented.
I probably could propagable. I think I'm harder on Skyrim because it is a more recent game. I mean, by now recent means 8 years ago, which is kind of shocking. But it feels like this game came out along the same time with a bunch of other games that had learned lessons that Skyrim is refusing to learn. Have you heard of the High Elves?
Really? And what might that be? I'm sorry, what? Well,
Staff of Magnus.
I'd certainly love to have such a powerful staff.
I'm sorry, what? The Staff of Magnus.
Sure that any of us need it.
Profiling living in Samir.
And how do you know of this?
Doing that on Project Runway in the last season too.
Did you really? And he specifically mentioned the Staff of Magnus? I'm impressed with your initiative. Of course, someone will need to follow up on this.
Oh, what do you mean about being less generic fantasy prop?
A most impressive attitude. Keep this up, and you'll do quite well for yourself. Something as specific and ancient as the Staff of Magnus.
Doing that arm.
I'm not sure we'd ever find something like that.
Stock animation thing.
Mirabelle mentioning the staff somewhat recently. Why don't you see if she can tell you anything?
The only NPCs in God of War 2018 that do that are the ghosts, because they're the only like generic quest NPCs in the game. Everyone else is hand mocapped.
This circlet once proved invaluable to me. I hope it can be of use to you now.
Thanks, dude. Get me some kind of circlet. Which I probably won't be able to find because I'm a bad person. Skyrim is Nordic coldlands, Oblivion is British farmland, and Morrowind is this island filled with weird geography and large mushrooms. Interesting. Yeah, I guess Skyrim does some things, or at least what little I've seen of the Elder Scrolls games will do the, hey, it's a fantasy setting, but the dwarves are gone. What? There aren't that many dragons, but except Skyrim. It's cool to do more fantasy settings that are just so completely turned upside down. They made a really sharp turn towards generic Western Europe, medieval fantasy, and Oblivion. I wonder why. I feel like there's so much of that generic Western Europe, medieval fantasy that you'd want to do anything and everything to distance yourself from that.
Please don't bother the Archmage unless it's up. If there are any problems, let me know.
I don't know, to me that's like making a really generic Japanese RPG. Maybe there's still a crowd out there that will just consume any Japanese RPG they can get their hands on, regardless of setting, but to me, you really have to make a compelling argument. Like, if your game is called, you know, Hero's Journey for Quest Adventure, I'm like, okay. Like, does the protagonist, like, wake up late? Do their parents die early in the game? Are they actually the chosen one? Yawn.
Well, now that's an odd question. Why in the world would you be asking?
Then you have to make the straight subversion JRPG where the protagonist wakes up on time. Their parents are your allies from the beginning of the game. They spend the entire game in your party. But you're not important at all, and you die alone.
The Eye of Magnus?
Clear out rats in the tavern cellar, right?
Thing, this orb, it's very impressive. Very unique and definitely worth studying. But let's not jump to any conclusions or assign it importance beyond what we're certain of.
Really? A trend in anime and manga is Connecticut Yankee and King Arthur's Court? There's just a bunch of different stories like that?
Well, it's said to be very powerful. Has the capacity to store an incredible amount of magical power, as the story goes. But it's more myth than anything at this point. I've no doubt that it actually exists, but no one has seen it in, what, decades? Longer? I'm not sure. The only time I've heard it mentioned was when those Synod characters showed up some months ago looking for it. Mages based out of Cyrodiil. They fancy themselves the imperial authority on magic these last few hundred years. My understanding is that all they really do is make noise in an attempt to curry favor from the Emperor. Lots of politics, little magic. I was quite surprised to find them on our doorstep. They seemed amiable enough, but their line of questioning made me uneasy. It became clear they're trying to hoard powerful artifacts, looking to consolidate power.
That's interesting.
No one here does. The Synod seemed convinced it was somewhere in Skyrim. They inquired about the ruins of Mzulft, but that's all I remember. It sounded like they were heading there, though they were rather secretive about why. I suppose if you're intent on looking for the staff, there's a chance they might be in Mzulft yet. Just don't expect them to be cooperative.
Isn't there, is that a separate thing from, like, the trope about being stuck in an MMO? Or getting sucked into an MMO? Or those two things kind of overlap?
I'm not really sure. Made and used by Magnus himself, if you believe those sorts of things. I believe I've heard it said that it's the only thing that could adequately contain his power. The sort
of I totally agree, Krogan. I like that about Dragon Age too. It's like, ooh, the elves are like a, you know, African-American analog, you know, slave race. That's, I've never seen anybody do that with elves before, but they still kind of keep some of their elven charm. I think Skyrim does that too, or Elder Scrolls does that too. Like, just find a way to take something and turn it upside down a bit if you can. I think in nerd culture we've gotten very good at not just recommending things, but explicitly designing things as it's like X but Y. It's like Chrono Trigger, but with Fire Emblem elements. That sounds awful. You know, stuff like that. And I think that's sometimes a good thing. It's often, I didn't even say it's often a good thing. Here are the 5 games that explicitly inspired this new game. I might be blind. That or I have to travel super far. Here we go. I You know the Wood Elves live in a giant forest, eat each other because they made a pact with the forest. They only meet including cannibalism. Their cities are giant moving trees. That's pretty great. I'm on board with all that.
Heard they're reforming the Dawn Guard.
I like stories that play around with fantasy stereotypes. Like, cool to play a game where the orcs are the well-read race, and the gnomes are like cannibalistic savages or something. We've seen a decent amount of that too. It's like Dark Souls, but it's your genre here. What was it? Exclamation point. Dark Souls, noun 1, noun 2. Games journalists are the Dark Souls of nerd culture. Windhelm. Don't think so, it doesn't sound familiar. Truly the Dark Souls streamer. That's me. Giants are bad. They're like this game's Lionels. Sort of. Dark Souls is truly the Dark Souls of Dark Souls. I know, right? No kidding.
I've been hunting and fishing in these parts for years. Take a look.
Mud crab legs.
Take a look. Take a look.
Keep wanting to hit back, to just go back one step. Bender only has 12 gold. Fuck is this shit?
Good day.
The way people transition from standing to sitting is pretty silly. There's a perk that gives every merchant more gold? That's a weird use of perk. Barter or something? You raise your speech skill by selling stuff to merchants, right? So you should probably try to dump stuff with all of them. The economy in Elder Scrolls games feels icky to me in a way that's difficult for me to describe. It's interesting because like all the loot in the game is authored, right? Oh god. Can you guys not? Just... There's no procedurally generated loot in Skyrim. I mean, you might maybe run into characters that are on like a path where you run into them at an unexpected place, but the loot that they have is authored. There is some procedurally generated. Where do you run into that? In chests and stuff? It feels like it's a mix of the two. Like, it's not like Divinity Original Sin, which is almost entirely procedural loot. Sometimes you'll go into a dungeon and there will be a bunch of like loot objects that have been specifically placed on the wall. Any container or chest is partially randomized. Really? That's interesting. So if it's like a lootable object, it may have been procedural, at least to some extent. And if it's loot that's lying around in the game world, that it's authored. Dwarf ruins. Containers respawn, which is why it's not safe to store things.
Find Paratus in Oculory.
Okay. Probably should have read this guy's book. Dungeons reset eventually. Right. Well, I think a lot of procedural loot does draw from tables, but maybe it's more explicit tables in this one. And, the loot has to scale with your level, right? Because you can go anywhere in the game. It's kind of like how Breath of the Wild loot works for the most part, where I believe that the contents of chests have a much higher lower bound of gear quality depending on the number of enemies you've killed in the game up to that point. Something like that. Oh, that's cute. Really, just if I can disable that. Should have plentiful Magica. Actually use that. Now, is the leveling of loot just like, okay, there's going to be a dagger in this chest, but if you're level 1, it's a rusty dagger. If you're level 10, it's an iron dagger. If you're level 20, it's a mithril dagger. If you're level 30, it's a dagger, fuck you, so on. Random, but it might, your level might change the like lower bound on what kind of stuff you'll find. You probably won't be finding rusty crap anymore at max level. Perhaps. I see. What does Daedric mean in the context of the Elder Scrolls series? Generates in a range around your level levels. Beams. God demons. I feel like I would have to play. I wonder, like, what the best way to get steeped into Elder Scrolls lore is. I don't think you can get there just from playing Skyrim. At least the game, even the main quest line, isn't structured in such a way to immerse you in it. It actually almost seems like this game is written assuming you've played other Elder Scrolls games as far as the introducing you to lore aspect is concerned. Azura. Read the wiki. Yeah. I guess I could just read it. It's one of those, like, I need to beat all the games to unlock the ability to read the wiki. Lest I spoil myself for something, but... Mm-hmm. It's a spider. Daedric gods are considered between neutral, like Azura, and aren't evil, like Ball. I see. Lesser Daedra, they're mostly just monsters. How did they come to exist? Like, what's the creation myth for the Elder Scrolls universe? It's kind of like the equivalent of angels and demons. These were tricked into creating the world. Did you realize before it was too late and split off and kept their power? Control the realm to Dunlain. Are they all bad? This guy's cool looking. About to kick my ass though. Can't move past Lydia here. Good job, Lydia. Proud of you. I was going to ask if Elder Scrolls Online would be a good way to get overall Elder Scrolls lore. Or I don't know if there's an early game that tries to introduce it slowly. Age are benevolent, they rarely intervene directly, many doubt they even exist. I see. They're all chaotic, whether good or neutral. Interesting. God, what? Don't accidentally kill Lydia. This is where we want to have a conjuration thing like bounce through, right? Nope, and then we died. See how far back it sends me, probably pretty far. Yeah. Daedra explored more in Oblivion. Start saving after every successful combat. Sure, it was supposed to be a jungle, but it got changed time around a bit and the jungle was gone. Okay. So they haven't done any, like, out-of-universe retconning. Retconning all happens within the story confines, I guess. Mining, most interesting mechanic. Is there even a skill for mining in this? Like to track? I need to get the thing that lets me do stealth magic, or is that a mod? Is that not part of vanilla Skyrim? Probably want fire for these guys. Oh, I didn't reload when I hit her by accident. I reloaded because I died. I would like her to not be able to die, though, because it's kind of annoying that she takes damage in the first place. It's not an interesting mechanic, I think. Fire's not as good as I thought it was. Yeah, if she dies permanently, I would reload. I might go with that, yeah. I mean, it's just a time saver. Although, then I get kind of worried. I've already used the console command to get rid of encumbrance because of that long debate we don't need to go back into. I'm worried about opening up slippery slope, right? We're already somewhat sliding down that slope a bit. Oh, I don't think anyone does, but I kind of do. This is the closest I've come to breaking my streaming rules in a game when it comes to modifying out encumbrance. Yeah. I guess for some older games that don't have checkpointing, let me see if I can logic this. So older games that have a limited number of lives that start you back at the beginning of the game. If you fail, I will use save states to pretend like I had continues. Where I won't like save state within a level, but I'll save state at the start of the level, and if I die, I'll reload it so I don't run out of continues and start the whole game over. But is that different from saving the time of just making Lydia invincible? I don't think it significantly changes my strategy. What are you doing? Why is she attacking me? What the fuck? This game's serious? Did she hear what we were talking about or something? I didn't even do anything.
Oh no. Must have run off. Honor to you.
This game is really buggy. Do you guys even know what happened? Like, I wasn't attacking her. She just started yelling as though I was attacking her, and then I was like, well, I'm gonna kill you now. She got hit by the rocks. And just to be clear, the rocks that were already on the ground and interpreted as an attack by me. Alright. Whatever you say, Skyrim. Skyrim, you goofy. We get to level up, we do. Requires 70, 70 of it. I think that requires 50. Shock, I guess. And Frostish. The ones that are lit up are the ones that I already have, right? I don't know if I want Intense Flames. I feel like if their health is low, I want to finish them off. I guess they'll probably run away and then finish burning to death. Oh, we want that. Yeah. That wasn't a hard decision. Wait for Augmented Shock here. Save my extra perk. Maybe it's the time. Right, Krogan. Ba-dum-bum. Hello. Mr. Dwarven Sphere. Are Dwarven constructs weak against shock damage? That's another thing. I love this game to have some kind of in-universe feedback as to whether damage was effective or not. And I guess you can see the rate at which their health bar moves, but only useful if you're targeting multiples of the same enemy with different abilities. That is time for Skyrim. Thanks, Knight, for including this in your subblock. Probably end up beating this on Knight's subblock. He gets a pretty significant boost to his subblock hours on his anniversaries. But I wouldn't mind playing more Elder Scrolls games if folks want to get them on the voting spreadsheet or get them on the schedule through other means. I'll be back in a little bit for the final game of Subblock today, which is Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice, the Norse mythology game about mental illness and schizophrenia. That's very cool. Be back soon.